Hey, everybody, welcome back to another edition of the Fantasy Football Expo podcast. Of course, coming to you from beautiful palm tree laden Canton, Ohio. My name is Bob Long, of course, and I'm with the Fantasy Football Expo. And on my right is Mr. David Rylick with the Hawk Bets, and he's been smashing, which I assume is what his tagline is, right? Got to be.
Yeah.
But David, welcome to the show. How are you doing? Tell everybody just a little bit about yourself personally, where you're from, that kind of stuff, and then we'll kind of get rolling.
All right. Yeah, no, thanks for having me, Bob. Yes, I do mention the smash phrase as often as I can without being too cliche, I guess. But so my name is David. As you said, I'm from Rochester, New York. I've been doing this. I've been doing, fantasy football for a long time, as I'm sure a lot of you guys have. Friends leagues, transition to something more serious. So, I'm doing great. Happy to be here. We've been talking back and forth, Bob. So, thank you for having me, and I'm excited to get this podcast done together.
And basically, David also is good friends with Adam Krautworth, who I've known Adam for quite some time now. I don't know how long. I don't want to age either one of us, but I bet it's been 10 years. But yeah, I've known Adam for years, and I know he lives fairly close to you guys. You guys hang out, so always appreciate that. Always nice to have some friends in the neighborhood. So David, let's talk about your beginnings here. Let's talk about when this all started, whether it's fantasy, whether it's sports betting. I know you're on the sports betting side. We'll get to that. But talk about your start into this fantasy football world. When did you get started? How long ago was it? Kind of give people a background of what got you into this wonderful nerdy world that we live in.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think I would say I started, I've been a longtime football fan, grew up a Cowboys fan because of my dad. And then somewhere around I think it was Peyton Manning's rookie year. So I'd have to think back on how old I was, but I was young. I remember he was on TV. The Colts were on TV and I was watching it and I was like, I like that team's jerseys. Blue's been my favorite color. It still is to this day. I saw their home jersey. They had the blue jerseys. Like a typical kid, you're just like, that's my new favorite team. I like that team. So all of a sudden, that's kind of how it started. Peyton Manning's rookie season, they go 3-13. So everybody wants to call me a bandwagon fan, but I've been there at least since the beginning of Peyton Manning. Call it what you will. And then I just became a Colts fan, watched their games as much as possible, off and on as much as any kid does, I think. And then, teenager and then going into high school, became an avid fan, started getting the NFL Sunday ticket when it was available, mooching off of my parents when they would have the Sunday ticket so I could watch all the Colts games. And now I'm like a pretty regular Colts fan watcher. I pretty much don't miss a game anymore. Every year I get the package and stuff like that too. So I would say I'm a pretty devout fan. But anyways, though, so that was my football journey. And then fantasy football, I would say I probably started playing in high school. Maybe just before high school, you just do like a Yahoo league with friends or something like that. And it's real casual. And then through college, started to do more drafting where we get together and hang out with guys and friends and stuff like that. And then, it turns into like doing the auction drafts at the local bar with people have the board up and everything like that.
Yeah.
So I've been through all that. So I've been in it for quite some time now. And then, started transitioning a little bit more, taking it a little bit more seriously, doing more dynasty leagues, did some with my brother, Tim, as well, where we both, co-captain teams. So, and then that, I guess I would say has, that and my love for football has kind of transitioned and propelled me to what I'm doing now, which is a little bit more, it's a little bit of everything, honestly, but it's, best ball, sports betting, and fantasy football. So.
Got it. Yeah, no. And I have to ask the question. So how did your dad become a Cowboys fan? Did you guys live in Texas? Is it just one of those off the wall things like you love the Colts even though you lived in New York?
Yeah, something silly like the jersey. You know what? I want to say that his dad started it, but I know he's so I don't know how much he likes him now, but I know at least he was a big Jerry Jones guy. He was a Barry Switzer fan, and then, Troy Aikman and Jimmy Johnson and all that. Yeah. So I don't know what exactly, I guess, propelled him into it, but I know he's been a fan as long as I've been alive. And I would say he's quite devout as well. One of my like strongest memories of my childhood is, well, two things. One, they took us to Texas Stadium before before they closed it down, and we got a little piece of the turf in a star shape and stuff. We went down on the stadium floor. That was cool. Like right in the stadium on the turf field and stuff. That was cool. And then the other one was when they went into the Super Bowl, and I want to say maybe it was like 92 or something off the top of my head, but he had this huge Super Bowl party. So we're in the middle of New York. He throws this Super Bowl party with like 100 guests. He story short, he owned a limo company, so he had people arriving in limos. He had like a 10-foot #1 Cowboys fan sign out in the front yard. He had a neon Dion sign that literally lit up neon in the front yard. He had barbecue sauce flown in from Texas. Like, he did it all, and they thankfully won and everything like that. But that is one of my fondest memories. So I can truly say
best dad ever.
He's a huge fan.
Candidate right there, man. I don't care who you're rooting for. It doesn't matter. Just
wild.
That party alone sounds pretty awesome.
Wild. Listen, I was a kid, but I'm sure the adults had a good time.
Yeah. I mean, how do you not?
Yeah.
No, that's a great story. Great story. All right. So yeah. So like you said, you've obviously been through a lot of fantasy. You said you got into some dynasty stuff, and now you've transitioned this into the Hawk Bets, getting into the sports betting world and making some money off that. Talk about that transition when you moved into, not only starting to get into the sports betting. Now, Ohio just went legal last year, so it's been, but what got you into that? What drives you? What makes you different than others? Because obviously, if you're making money from it, that obviously is a good thing. But what kind of twists and things do you feel like you bring to the table for folks who are looking to find somebody like yourself to help them be a little bit more profitable in the sports betting world?
Yeah, for sure. So I guess I would say it started probably like a lot of people were like, high school, college, you're just, mainly more college, I would say. You're just starting to bet on games. Like as soon as it became legal in New York, I'd throw some money on a game. I think this team's going to win. I think I know football or basketball or something like that. So a little bit here and there, and then had some success with it. And then really where I think it became more interesting to me, and I started playing, I guess, a little bit more heavily and frequently, was when I would have friends over. So we have this pretty good tradition where like during football season, especially once a week, somebody hosts a primetime game. So primetime game comes out. Hey, you want to get together Monday Night Football? Sure. We get together, we throw an SGP in, and we all do it together, and we track it and we root for it during the game. So whether the game's a good game or not, you have some interest in the game. And that's what I really enjoy. You're sitting there with your friends. You all want the same thing to happen. So you're rooting for things. The same thing with fantasy. You're rooting for guys and things and outcomes that normally you would not care about. You know what I mean? Like I'm watching a crappy game that might be 41-7, but I got some skin in the game. So I'm hoping that this outcome comes true, and then we can all cheer together and win some money. So that's kind of like what I enjoyed about it the most. And that's kind of like, we started to have some success. We were having fun with it. And then, I'm like, okay, this is pretty good. And then my brother-in-law, Mitch, who's DFS and Donuts, he does this as his career. He's fantastic at it. And, so I'm obviously texting with him and my father-in-law, and, and he's like, oh, you should do this kind of thing. So anyways, though, he kind of propelled me into doing it more seriously. Had me on his show last year. He does a YouTube stream, invited me on, like, hey, he's like, football, like come on my show and we'll do a weekly show and talk football and talk, over-unders and stuff like that and point spreads and everything. So we started doing that NFL season last year, and I really enjoyed it. He said, like, you obviously enjoy it. You have a knack for it. We have fun doing it. Let's do more together. So he kind of pushed me in that direction for sure. And then, I started making my own videos, launched my own YouTube channel about a month ago, launched a Patreon a little less than that ago and everything, and started doing picks for real cheap and for free, just like I would do with my friends, send them out like, hey, I'm playing this. You guys should play this too. And so just on a bigger scale, and kind of here we are, I guess I'd say.
No, that's very cool. And like you said, that's a tough world to not only make money as a bettor, but make money as somebody who's kind of sharing that knowledge with others. But you and Mitch, which we just had on a week or so ago with DFS and Donuts, you guys are both battling it out there. And I asked Mitch this question. I'm going to ask you. Yeah. Do you find it weird that you're competing against your brother-in-law for like the same dollar or same followers?
No, not really, because like it's something like sports betting is like a $319 billion industry. So
Right. I get
I
yeah,
don't
sure.
feel like, I don't really feel like we're in competition. If anything, I feel like, we try not to bounce too many plays off each other because we don't want groupthink. We've talked about it a couple
Right.
of times that we actually think groupthink is kind of a bad thing in sports betting sometimes because, like I might have one thought, he has another thought. And next thing you know, those meld together into one. Instead, we had like two original ideas and maybe one of them was
Mhm.
right, one of them was wrong. Now we both head down one path and, sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. But so
Right.
we try to avoid talking about it too much before we put the picks out and stuff. But I would say that I don't feel like we're in competition at all.
Okay.
He is phenomenal at this. I'm learning the ropes. Like he showed me a lot of stuff. Like NFL, I was pretty good at. Like I feel like I could hold my own in NFL, but like MLB, NBA, things that I've grew up playing basketball. Not so much
Okay.
baseball and stuff, but like a sport enough and you follow it enough, you might have a pretty good feel for the game. And I've always been in my career, I do a lot of data analytics anyways in my
Okay.
full-time career.
Oh,
So
yeah.
that
Like me,
is
I'm an accountant.
yeah, perfect. So like you get it. Like that
Yeah.
stuff is that and we talked about the nerdy stuff. Like I enjoy that. That excites me. So like
Yeah.
that came naturally. So it was just kind of melding the two things together and learning, when's the right time to take a play, when's not the right time to take a play. And that's kind of what I'll be honest and say I'm still learning. And to go back to your previous question, you asked like what I bring to the table. I think that's
Mhm.
different. And I think that a couple of things. One, being so new into this, not new into like betting in general, but being new into like sharing picks and stuff. I think that brings a fresh perspective on, like I don't have the biggest massive bankroll that some of these guys have. So I know that
No,
every
fair.
win and loss is important to me. So I really
Mhm.
try to keep that in mind. Like I'm not a guy, I'm much more of a quantity over quality or quality over quantity guy.
Mhm.
Like there's a lot of people out there that, and, no knock against them, but they'll put out a ton of picks and, they'll go like 6-5 and they might make a small profit. I'd much rather go 2-0 and make a larger profit. And that's kind of
Right.
what I've tried to learn. And but I don't always get it right, but like that's what I think I bring to the table. Hopefully I bring a real precise and concise product and output to the table is what I'd hope to bring. And also on my
Mhm.
YouTube videos, I go into a lot of the why behind things, not just like here's the plays, take them and bet them, and
Right.
hopefully you win, hopefully you lose. But I try to go into like here's why I'm on this play, here's the data behind it, and here's my feeling on this or how I think it's going to affect the game and stuff. So I
Yeah.
hope
No, that's
that
fair.
people watch my videos and are like, I learned something. So maybe the next time I don't even have to always pay for picks. Like I can go out and do this myself kind of thing. So that's my
Well,
goal.
no, and I appreciate that, and I'm this, on my fantasy side, I do the consistency stuff, and
Yeah.
I try to say to people, look, after a while, you kind of will know, you can follow who the most consistent are, and you kind of start understanding that, and then as you start looking at players, whether it's waiver wire trades, that kind of thing, you kind of start going, I know that guy's more
Mm-hmm.
consistent, so I'm going to go after that guy, or hey, could you throw in this guy who may not mean much to him, but he may have read something on my site like, hey, this guy's had 2 straight clutch games, he's starting to show some consistency, grab him before somebody else figures it out, kind of thing. So I get it, and I
Yep.
appreciate that, and I think that's important because it is, it's the whole teaching them to fish, not fishing for them, right?
Absolutely.
Catching the fish for them. So yeah, no, I love that. So
Yeah.
great. So you're coming to the expo, got a booth. I know the answer to this question, but I'm going to ask it anyway for everybody else. So how did you hear about the expo?
So I heard about it. I actually don't know who was the first to tell me, but I know obviously
Okay,
my
I was gonna say,
brother-in-law
was
Mitch
it
told
Adam?
me.
Was it your
Yeah,
brother-in-law?
right. That's the thing. It's because I did hear about it from both them individually, and I would imagine that Mitch told me about it first, and then I was like, and then I probably texted Adam, was like, "Hey, Adam, have you heard about this?" He's like, "Oh yeah, I go every year," kind of thing.
Yeah,
So
right. See, Adam comes all
yeah,
the time.
so I don't know who was first, but they were both like, "Yeah, this is something I have heard about." I don't. Mitch has never been. Adam goes every year, but Mitch is
Right.
obviously, he knew about it and everything. So I think that's the nice thing of us both doing this together. And now, I'm sure he told you he moved up from Virginia to New York. So like now that
Mhm.
we're together proximity wise too, we can get together in person more and we can do this trip together. So we're going to
Right.
ride together down there. So it's like,
Perfect. Yeah.
not only is it going to be an awesome expo, a good chance to meet people that are doing the same things and just meet other people that are just like interested in fantasy football, but it's also going to be a little trip for us too. So we're excited about that.
Nothing like a guy's trip, especially when it's relatives, brother-in-law. Yeah.
Yep.
I love spending time with my brother-in-law. We get together and drink and smoke cigars. It's a blast. And of course, this year the reason why we're interviewing people like you and people like Mitch who are coming to this is because this year, for the first time, we're focusing our Saturday events on sports betting. So sports betting Saturday this year, 4 hours, just like we do in the Dome on Sunday with fantasy football for 6 hours. We're doing 4 hours from 11 to 3 on Saturday during the Expo. Every different kind of panel. I'm sure David and Mitch will be on various ones. We've got prop bets, sport betting 101. I think Mitch said he'd take a liking to that because he's a former teacher. So he wants to kind of educate of how to do it right from the start. So that's great. But, you guys will both be on some of those panels, and we appreciate you coming in and doing that. And you'll have booths, like you said, side by side to share your knowledge and hopefully gain some more followers and fans and Patreons. And, but, we're excited to have the sports betting thing. And I think it's the perfect time. Ohio went live last year. But it's, we know that it's all across the country. There many states are legal now, and more are adding all the time. So, in a couple of years, we'll probably have another 5 or 10 states involved. So really excited for that. We're working on a sports book now to be a part of it. We're talking to various sites to try to get them to come and be a part of it. So we're looking for an exciting kind of rookie season initial kickoff to sports betting Saturday, and you and Mitch will be a part of it, and we appreciate you coming. So what do you got planned for your booth? What are you going to do to outdo your brother-in-law right beside you? You're going to have like picture, you're going to have like neon signs. Your dad going to bring the neon Dion sign, put it in the booth, attract some attention. How you gonna outclass Mitch here?
Whew. Well, I don't know. I mean, he's a handsome guy, but I'd like to think I'm a little bit more handsome. So maybe that'll get some attention.
That might do it. There's not a lot of girls that show up to this event.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe that might not. Maybe that won't matter at all. Then I don't know. Then I'm gonna have to go with Plan B and pull out that old sign, I guess. From
you might have to get the neon Dion sign, from Dad.
Yeah, You're gonna need to. We're gonna need to talk off air about the power requirements of the building, because I'm sure that sign is not.
I'm sure. Place is huge. Come on, it blows the fan. It keeps the thing upright. Yeah. It's got to have lots of power in that.
We're going to need to turn the AC up in the place, because if that thing clicks on, all those bulbs are going to heat up and people are going to get a suntan. Yeah. You know what? Listen, first, full disclosure, first time running a booth, obviously, this will be new for me, but I've been at a couple of conventions for completely different things. So
exactly.
I know tchotchkes are big. Yeah, right.
It's the same thing. I mean, people walk up and you're sharing your knowledge or product or whatever, just like you would if you went to a tool manufacturing expo. It's the same stuff.
Yeah.
You're just selling fantasy football and sports betting. That's all.
Yep. So I'll get some swag to give away. I know there may or may not be some like goodie bags that you guys give out. So we'll have
we have goodie bags that you can put something in each one. Yep. So that's a definite. And then if you want to have stuff at your booth for special things, people love free stuff. That's for sure. And whether it's whatever, autograph this or, promotional items, whatever, it's foam footballs. Everybody loves all kinds of free stuff. So it's always a bonus. So cool.
Yeah. People love free stuff. So I was definitely looking into some of that already. One of the packages already came today. One of the little things, I got some tchotchkes that that I've already ordered. So I'll have some of that kind of stuff. I was thinking about putting up a small monitor or something maybe, and having like the YouTube videos I have on my channel just playing, so people can kind of see. There probably won't be much sound, if anything at all, because
I was going to say it's going to be really loud. So
exactly,
but it may not be worth it because they're not going to hear anything. So.
Right. So that's perfect, because so I was thinking about that. I've toyed with a couple of ideas. Definitely going to use some QR codes, because I'm sure that's going to be the easiest thing to hey, check out my site. Yeah, just go to this QR code. But yeah, I've got a couple of ideas. I've been doing a little bit of reading online of how to run a successful booth at an expo. So I mean, it's cool. Just Google's there for us. So I just Google how to run a good booth at a fantasy football expo, and 20 things popped up. So I'm
sure the chat GPT will tell you.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So I've got a couple of ideas. Still got to figure out the specifics. I'll have to figure out the power situation if I bring that monitor. But yeah, I'll figure it out.
Power wise, I mean, monitors and computers aren't that big of a deal. Okay. We just tell people to bring a power strip. Power's at each booth anyway, so you're fine. Okay. But I just hope people just bring a power strip, and you should be fine.
I'll come up with some things. Hopefully I can come up with something creative and that doesn't burn the place down. That's the goal, right?
That would be good. Yeah, we don't
Yeah.
want to do that. We don't
No.
want to do that. All right, cool beans. Do you have any questions for me as a newbie coming to the event? Like, hey, I've had this question, Bob. I hadn't kind of forgot to email you or whatever. Any questions for me as a rookie coming to the event?
Well, so I've talked to a couple of veterans, so I kind of have a little bit of lay of the land. I guess
Sure.
my question to you, the only thing I could think of, since you kind of put me on the spot here a little bit, Bob, but I guess what I was thinking is, do you know of like a idea of how much attendance you guys get at something like this?
Great question. So last year we had about 750 to 800 people.
Okay.
This year, where our goal is to go over 1,000. We're heading that direction.
Okay.
Everybody waits to the last minute, so
Sure.
I can't judge it based on where I'm at today.
Sure.
In fact, 2 years ago when 2021, so I guess it was 3 years ago. That was the first year we came back from COVID, and I didn't know what to expect people wise. And so we were at like, I forget, 150, maybe 175 people in like June 15th, somewhere around that. So we got to buy t-shirts because everybody, now the people who have already registered for it was great, but I got to order them by like the end of July. So we're getting, now mid-July, and I'm at like 200 tickets sold. And I'm like, okay, I'll get like 400 shirts.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's double, right? I thought that was even absurd because we're only at 200 and it's July 15th. 500 people showed up. 250 of them. So 300 people bought tickets between July 15th and August 10th.
Procrastination is real.
So we ran out of shirts. We had to send some out later. So, like you said, you can't judge based on where you're at any certain point, but so it is what it is. And so now we try to plan a little bit better. And everybody kind of knows to get it in at least by July 15th ish. I'll start emailing and blasting out people like, hey, if you want to guarantee you get your size shirt, you need to register ahead of time. So
sure.
But anyway,
awesome.
We're hoping to hit 1,000 this year. It's it sounds like a lot, but it just kind of everybody's just, you kind of start walking around and mingling, and you just kind of get lost in the people, and you kind of really don't realize how many people were there.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But it's a great time. We have it, I'm sure Adam's already told you.
Oh yeah.
Great time, great people. It's not like Twitter. There's no trolls. There's no people, bashing anybody or talking down to anybody or anything like that. We're all helping each other. You're going to meet a lot of great people, a lot of celebrities in the fantasy world that you've probably looked up to, whether it's, Mike Clay of the ESPN or Andy Barron of Yahoo, Dave Richards, Marcus Grant, Bob Harris, any of the guys from Sirius XM, Howard Bender. They're all there, and they're all just the nicest people ever. So you'll really enjoy going. And again, you've probably heard this from Adam, but
that's
really
awesome.
is.
Actually, you know what? I thought of one other question. Are you guys, do you guys have anything best ball related on your radar eventually, or do you see it as potentially?
So we do have a best ball panel on.
Oh, okay.
On Sunday or Saturday? Let me think.
Okay. Very
Hold
cool.
on. I have it right here. I should know.
Okay.
So on Sunday on our breakout stage, we do have a best ball panel. So if that's something that you would like to be on, we'd certainly love to have you. Okay. So we have best ball DFS on Sunday. We thought about putting it with sports betting, but it really didn't fit.
Sure.
As much as I hate to say it. Plus we have so many different topics in sports betting that, we just kind of didn't really, so we kept it on Sunday. We had it on Sunday last year, but we were going to move it. And then when I did moved it back. So best ball is one of our topics on Sunday as well. So like I said, a 2-day event. So excited to have you. So again, David, tell everybody where they can find you. Obviously your Twitter's there, but where's your website? How do they get your Patreon, all that kind of cool stuff? And then I'll take it out from there.
Sure. Yeah. So I guess my presence is probably the largest on Twitter and YouTube. So it's at The Hulk Bets on both those sites. That's really where I live, is Twitter. I post plays, talk about sports on there too. So, follow me, shoot me a message. let me know that you're coming to the expo too. It'd be cool to know who's coming ahead of time and try to meet up with some of you guys that are watching the show and stuff too. And yeah, that's where to find me. And listen, Bob, I appreciate it. I'm excited. I'm really excited to be a new person and going, and then to jump all in and get a booth like a madman with Mitch. I'm excited for that too. So it's going to be a good time.
It's going to be great. All right. Once again, David Rylick at the Hawk Bets. Of course, the Fantasy Football Expo. If you haven't got your tickets, you need to get them. 2 reasons why. 1, don't wait the last minute. Number 2, price goes up another $10 June 1st. So that's like 3 weeks away, and this will probably come out a week later, so it's probably 2 weeks away. So get your tickets ahead of time. Don't let it go up another $10, and get them quick and get them early, and make sure you get your T-shirts and all that reserved. thefantasyfootballexpo.com. Oh, by the way, I didn't tell anybody. We now have the domain at or www.theffexpo.com. So it's much shorter and it still works. So that's super cool. I just kind of found it by accident because somebody said, why don't you be the FF? Because that's what our Twitter is at the FF Expo, and our Instagram and everything. So guess what? We have the website too. So anyway, check it all out. And of course, when I hit this button, you're going to see all that information on the outro. Thank you, David, again for being a part of this. Everybody else, take care. God bless. We'll see you soon.